Hi there, and welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie, episode 356. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. As you're rolling on in, say hello and where you're watching from if you're watching us live. And I want to give a special shout out to my Pixie patrons. You'll recognize them in the live chat with the little magic wand icon next to them. Speaking of Pixie patrons, we have our next Pixie patron stream. I think I mentioned to my patrons I was going to do it this week. I got my dates mixed up with my brother's visit, so I'm actually still going to do it next Thursday, December 19th. That is episode 15. I don't even remember now, but that's for my Pixie patrons. We'd love to have you join the Pixie patrons. You can join as a channel member for $4.99 per month, but that's what the little magic wand is, and the colors vary based on how long they've been a member to the channel. So thank you so much to my Pixie patrons, and I want to give a special thank you to my whole audience because we just surpassed the 50,000 subscriber mark. So thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not already a subscriber, we'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. That just helps us here on YouTube. And if you enjoyed tonight's project, don't forget to hit that like button as well. I also want to say hello to my replay warriors as well. So thanks for joining me. Let's see, today is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. I finished all of my Christmas shopping, which is, I'm normally shopping at the very last minute. So that's done. I feel like Christmas has crept up very quickly, but I think it's because Thanksgiving was sort of the end of the month. It just felt like it was a much more cramped timeline. The kids are done with school for winter break next Friday, so December 20th. And then they'll be home, I think, until January 7th. So lots of fun ahead. And I do need to remember to do one thing. I forgot to transfer that file over. So I'm going to multitask a little bit. But tonight, I have got a fun project for you using the Sweetest star punch. When the mini catalog first came out, I thought that was my favorite bundle in the whole catalog, and I only just picked up that punch last week. So I participated in a shoebox swap this past weekend with fellow team members, and the project I'm going to share with you tonight is the one that we did with the shoebox swap. So let me give you a sneak peek. It's totally a Pixie box. Let me see, I hide my face so is that not the cutest? And inside, I've got a Lindor truffle. Now, I am all ready for you tonight. So I've got a project sheet is already linked in the description, also the supplies list. And I'm actually going to show you tonight, hopefully it will work. I'm going to do a very quick, sorry, trying to hide my face there. Do you see how that designer series paper is just a little bit inset on that punch? I'm going to do a very quick scan and cut tutorial for you tonight to show you how I did that. So for those of you that have a scan and cut or are thinking about getting a scan and cut, I'm going to show you a really cool trick that you can do with that machine. So let's see, a couple of housekeeping items. Let me go to the next scene here. If you have a question for me tonight, put a Q in front of that question. That will make it into my queue. I'm going to save all of your questions until the end of tonight's live stream so that I can focus on demonstrating tonight's project, and then I will stay on until I answer all of your questions. We are also going to do a little bit of a sneak peek tonight as well. I opened up my product shares for sign up. So I'm going to show you all the amazing products that are included in the product shares to help you make a decision if you want to join the Paper Pixie product shares. So I'm excited for that. I just opened that up today. I emailed those that were on my product share list earlier today. And so you'll get to see a sneak peek of new papers, ribbons, and embellishments tonight. So we're going to do that as well. When you shop with me, you earn Pixie Perks on orders of $25 or more. All you need to do is use my magic shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop. That will auto-magically take you to the Stampin' Up! Online store, shopping with me with my current host code applied to your order. That's the easy button. Now, if your order is going to be $150 or more, you'll want to take the host code off because you're going to earn Stampin' rewards from Stampin' Up! And you'll still also earn Pixie Perks from me as well. Today is the last day of a 3-day free shipping promotion. Stampin' Up! Is offering free shipping on orders of $75 or more. That is an 11% savings on your order, and it's a great time to check out the last chance list the new kits that release, the new recolored designer series paper. It's also a great time to stock up on staples like cardstock and envelopes and adhesive for your projects for 2025, as well as if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, it's a great time to purchase either a 6-month or 12-month prepaid subscription because you're going to save the most you can when it's a free shipping promotion. So that ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. So don't miss out if you were planning on doing a free shipping order. The other date to keep in mind is this Friday, December 13th, here in the US. That is the shipping deadline for Christmas. So if you're purchasing Stampin' Up! Products for Christmas gifts, you want to make sure to get those orders in by Friday. They can't guarantee or promise it'll arrive on time because once it leaves the Stampin' Up! Warehouse, they're a bit at the mercy of the delivery carriers, but they say December 13th is the shipping deadline, okay? So there's that. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes. Last chance, we talked about that. The next screen, it's going to go black for a moment, but then it's going to open up the last chance page, so bear with it. It takes a couple of seconds for that to come up. Oh, and look at that, 404 error. Okay, well, pretend like that didn't do that. I'm gonna go ahead and go to specials and last chance products. Hopefully that will work. Let's trick the system here. Hold on, let's go. It was working before this. All right, let's do that. Last chance products. Okay, so I wanted to point out a couple of things on here. Along the left-hand side, you'll see filters. I shared this briefly last week, but if you want to take a look at all the products that are discounted, if you check the 10% or more, that's going to be all products on Last Chance that are discounted. If you want to see the deep, deep discounts, and I believe these go up to 80% discount, you can also filter by the 50% or more and take a look at those. I want to point out a couple of things. So Latte Love is an $8 stamp set. It was a $20 stamp set on sale for $8. Magnolia Mood, $13.50. So there are some amazing deals to be had in the Last Chance. So if you're planning to put a free shipping order in, check out the Last Chance. The other thing I want to show you is, let me move that off my screen. The online exclusives.
Saying the project sheet isn't working.
Oh, the project sheet's not working? Oh, I don't think I put the link in there. I will fix that right after the stream. All right, so online exclusives, I wanted to just point out really briefly here. You're gonna see the 2 new kits, the Perpetual Beauty Calendar Kit, which is amazing as a perpetual birthday calendar. You can also add other things in that, like anniversaries or other things that happen every year. And the Cherry Blossom Treat Boxes kit, that's on the right. And then we've got our 3 recolored designer series papers. So you'll see all of those on the online exclusives section of the online store. So let's see. Okay. I think that's it from this screen. Let's go to this. We're going to do the demonstration here. All right. We are going to start with our 3D project, and then I'm going to do the sneak peek product showcase. So let's see. Tonight, the products that we're going to be using are the My Small Business stamp set. Let me bring in the project again, so you can see that overhead. Again, it's like a lidded gift box with a little pentagon shaped box in there. And we're gonna learn how to do this little inset designer series paper, but the sentiment made with love, I absolutely love this. And it came from the My Small Business stamp set. So this project itself would be so amazing for little Christmas favors, like on the dinner table. But obviously change up the sentiment in the designer series paper that I'm sure many of you already have for the holidays. But this would be so cute for Valentine's Day and birthdays and even a baby shower with the star. So My Small Business is the stamp set. Then Stylish Shapes. It is the second smallest die that we're using. And I wanted to point out the Sweetest Star is the stamp set that coordinates with the Sweetest Star Punch. We're not using the stamp set, but this is Last Chance. The Sweetest Star, that's hard to say, Sweetest Star Punch is carrying over. So If you want to get the bundle, you can save 10% with those two. Again, I'm not using Sweetest Star. This has recently been restocked. I think it was early this week it got restocked. So just wanted to call that out with the Sweetest Star stamp set. All right. And the designer series paper, you may be thinking, well, what is that? This is actually an upcoming celebration freebie. So free with a $60 order. And that paper is called Bloom Impressions, and you're going to see a sneak peek of that later on in tonight's show. But that I paired with Petunia Pop cardstock. So is that not so cute? I love this. It reminds me of cherry blossoms, even the shape of the star. So super fun. All right. I was doing so good with the project sheet and the supplies list, and then I forgot to actually put the link in next to that. But here is my newly designed project sheet for you. So it's gonna have 2 pictures of the project, the measurements. I also, for this particular project, have added adjustments that you can make with this box to fit a Ferrero Rocher. So let me show you that real briefly. This is just a prototype, but it's a little bit taller. It's taller by 1/4 of an inch. And that is to fit a Ferrero, because a Ferrero doesn't fit in, this box is only 1 1/8 inch tall. This one is 1 3/8. So I added those adjustments here along the bottom. Just gonna point out a couple of things. You're only going to be adjusting like the height of the cardstock, and I've noted that here as well. And the designer series paper pieces are going to be a little bit different as well. So this is the front page of the project sheet. The back page is going to have the template or templates depending on the project. Some of them are going to be to scale. These ones are because they fit in the width. Some of them will not be, but again, they are intended for reference. And then I've got a supplies list for you. And if you save these PDFs, these are going to be hyperlinked in the PDF. Obviously, it doesn't work if you print them hard copy, but then I also have my QR code up here, also a clickable link back to the video. So introducing the new Paper Pixie project sheets. All right. We're going to jump into making this project now. So starting with, and I should have my project sheet handy. There we go. We've got 2 pieces of Petunia Pop. These are slightly different in size. I'm going to stack them on top of each other, and you can see one of them is longer than the other, but they are the same height. Okay. So the larger of the 2 is 1.5 by 6. And the smaller of the 2 is 1.5 by 5 11/16. That is just 1/16 less than 5 3/4. Okay, there is a method to my madness here. So I'm going to bring in the Simply Scored. There we go. And I'm going to start with the longer of the 2 pieces. Okay. So just make sure you pay attention to that. The longer one, we're going to go ahead and score along the 6-inch side at 1 1/8, 2 1/4, 3 3/8, 4 1/2, and 5 5/8. That is essentially every 1 1/8 inches increments. So 1 1/8, 2 1/4, 3 3/8, 4 1/2, 5 5/8, and I'm going to rotate this counterclockwise. So just 1/4 of a turn, and then I'm going to score this at 1 1/8. Okay, so that's what that piece is going to look like. And then I'm going to bring in the shorter piece. This is the one that was 5 11/16. And I'm going to score this one along the long side at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. Okay, 2 1/8, 4 1/4. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to score this at 3/8, 2 1/2, and 4 5/8. Okay, so I'm going to repeat those one more time. You're going to start on one of the long sides. We're going to do 2 1/8, 4 1/4, rotate it 180, and you're going to score 3/8, 2 1/2, 4 5/8. Now, this is a trick to get each of these little sections to be 1 1/16 inch, but you can't do 16th inch measurements or score lines on the Simply Scored. So that was Julie math for you. I figured it out. And now I'm going to rotate a quarter of a turn counterclockwise and same measurement, 1 1/8. Okay, so our pieces are actually going to look opposite. Your little 3/8 of an inch section on the shorter piece is on the left, and on the longer piece is on the right. And that is just, it's a paper pixie thing. I want the seams to line up in the same way. Okay, so there are those two pieces, and all those measurements are on the project sheet for you. The next thing we're going to do, I moved all of my supplies kind of far away because I need space to put the ScanNCut on the screen when I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish on all the score lines. And I'm just making sure to line up the edges as I do that. Okay. Same thing on the other one. Please help me remember to transfer that file. I forgot to do that before I went live, before the end of the show. It's so funny when I'm like, think I'm totally prepared, there's always something. At least I remember to turn my mic on. All right, so those are all folded and burnished, okay? So let me bring this back so we can take a look at our template here. Okay, so we're gonna actually prepare these both in a very similar way. If I can find my scissors. All right, so so I've got this 3/8 of an inch. We're gonna go ahead and cut our little miter cuts here. And you'll notice that these are a little bit deeper than I typically do with my boxes. And that's just so that we don't have any overlapping going on. So I like to fold on a score line so I can kind of isolate that. And I'm basically gonna be doing 2 miter cuts in one. So with that folded edge, I'm gonna just cut at an angle, and I'm going about 45 degrees, maybe a little bit less. And what that does is it basically does that little triangle for me as opposed to doing cut and cut, okay? So if you fold it on the score line and do that, it's just gonna save you some time. So I'm just gonna work my way down the score lines. And then this last little 3/8 of an inch piece, we're just gonna miter cut. We're gonna make some paper confetti tonight with these little triangles. And then we've got one more that I just have to do there because it's not on a score line, like so. Must have done the base first. So yeah, there we go, okay? And don't worry if your angles don't line up to the template. Nobody's gonna really see those angles, okay? So that's one piece. And then we're gonna do the other one. Again, just fold on the score lines, and I'm right-handed, so I like to cut from right up to left. So just wherever it feels comfortable. But again, this will save you a lot of time. This is one of those projects I would absolutely do multiples of because it's so stinking cute. But this is one way to kind of speed up that process. There we go. And then this little 3/8 inch tab, we're just gonna come miter cut. And then we gotta finish the miter cut here, okay? All right, let me get all my triangles out of here. So now we've got those two pieces. Now again, pay attention to which one is longer. The longer one is gonna end up being your lid. The shorter one is gonna end up being your base, okay? So, let's see. I think the way I'm gonna do this is we're gonna go ahead and finish the box, and then I'm gonna bring in the ScanNCut and show you how I did the designer series paper. That way we can keep the flow going. Those of you that don't have a ScanNCut or don't plan to use a ScanNCut, you can skip that part of the show. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish putting this box together. Now we're gonna bring in some designer series paper pieces. Bring that in. This in, and then I've got 2 of these punched out of Petunia Pop, just punched with the Sweetest Star Punch. This amazing punch. I love this one, okay? Get the good look there. There we go. All right, so we've got our designer series paper piece. This is the piece that I cut using the ScanNCut. And then I've got 4 pieces of designer series paper that are just 1 inch square, okay? So this is not a directional pattern, so you don't need to worry about which direction you're putting the paper on. If it is directional, I'm gonna give you a trick. Let me make sure I've got the long one, hold on. All right, the longer piece is your lid, and it's going to attach to the star, right, to create your lid. So if you had a directional paper, you want to put your tabs of the longer one facing up, and then you're going to put your paper top to bottom. All right, so I'm just going to use liquid glue. And you only need to put the designer series paper on the lid piece because the base piece fits, it nests right inside the lid. I mean, you could put paper on it if you wanted to. So this is just going to be a 1/16 of an inch of the petunia pop peeking out from behind it. And I'm using my beloved liquid glue. I think I might have said 4, but it's 5. This is a 5-sided box. So 5 1-inch square pieces. So used to saying 4. It's not often that I do additional shapes besides rectangles or squares. This is my favorite celebration paper. Wait till you see the others. They're all good, but this is one that I know I'm gonna be redeeming for a few packs of because it's just gorgeous. Especially with smaller boxes, all of the patterns in this one are smaller, so they work great on small boxes. All right, so designer series paper first just makes your life a lot easier. So that's all applied, and I love the way that looks with the petunia pop. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is put liquid glue on our little 3/8 inch tab here. And then I'm gonna bring the opposite side to line up right with that score line. So just take your time. I'm lining up this edge with the score line, and I'm also making sure the right and left edges are lined up, so that left score line, the right edge, just pinching it in place. Then you can fold on that and pinch further. Like so, okay? So that piece is getting there. Basically, that's how those tabs are gonna fold in. And see how they're not overlapping because I did those deeper angles? We're gonna do the same thing to the smaller piece. Liquid glue on the tab. Got a little messy there. And then line up the opposite edge. And bring that right up to the score line. We can clean up that glue in just a second. So kind of get the tab stuck, and then I'll pinch. And as I pinch, I just kind of wipe that glue off. I did say 4, yeah, 5. Ooh, all right, so that's the other piece, but I'm gonna show you a trick to getting that added to the box. All right, so we're gonna start with the one that's got the designer series paper, or the bigger one. And I like to kind of fold the tabs in so they're perpendicular to the sides. That just kind of will help so they're not like sticking up. And then I just kind of hold it in my hand like this, and we're gonna apply liquid glue to each of the 5 tabs. And just kind of rotate it in my hand. Whatever's comfortable for you. You could absolutely do this with it resting on the surface. And then our last tab here. And don't worry too much about this being like a perfect pentagon, but I'm gonna take one of the stars. Okay, hold on, I forgot to glue the star to the lid. Let's do that before the other glue dries. That's too funny. It's easier if you do this first. So this is gonna fit just inside by about 1/16 of an inch. And don't worry, I'm gonna show you how I did that. All right, so we got that. Now we're just gonna go ahead and, I see some of my adhesive is dried a little bit, so let's add just a little bit more. Here we go. Those first couple of tabs. All right. So I'm just gonna set that on my surface, and I'm gonna set my star in the same orientation as the pentagon. And I'm just gonna kind of lay it down, and then I'm gonna flip it. And now I'm just gonna kind of slide the points into the points of the star. Once I'm happy with the position, then I'll start to push it down a little bit more. I'm just kind of eyeballing. Okay, and don't worry about it being perfect angles, okay? Then I'm gonna take my glue bottle and just press down on those tabs from the inside. There we go. All right, so I'm also paying attention to where my seam is, or that internal tab. So that's gonna be the bottom of my star box. I'm gonna take the seam on the small one, lining it up with that seam. I'm just gonna drop that into the box. And that kind of helps that smaller piece, which is technically the base, stick to the same angles as the lid. It also helps kind of keeping it in position. And now I can come around and put the glue on these tabs just like we did the lid. And just work your way around. A little bit more there. There we go. Again, I'm just kind of looking where my seam is. It really doesn't matter at this point. But now I'm going to take the second star and place that over the top. And here's my trick for this. I'm going to put it kind of on its side and just rotate it so that the star is in the same position as the bottom star. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out and take the glue bottle again and just press on those tabs like so. So then we've got our adorable, just lining up the seams, Sweetest star gift box. Is that not so cute? Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of stamping. I have die cut this ahead of time. We're going to use Blackberry Bliss, one of my favorite colors, and the sentiment Made with Love. This would be super cute for Valentine's Day. We'll stamp that right inside. There we go. Take your pick tool. Actually, I'll wait to do that. Let's do the liquid glue here. Again, I'm just paying attention to where my seam is. I put it on the lower left. You could use dimensionals for this if you wanted to, but I didn't think it needed any additional dimension. And then place that right on the top there. And we're going to grab an iridescent pearl basic jewel and pop it there. And then we've got our little Sweetest star gift box. And I'm looking on my base. It's a little bit off center, but it's handmade. You could actually take your time a little bit more than I did and just slide it into place to make sure, but it does line up okay this way. So there's a couple of tricks to that. So there's that. And then I'm going to grab a Lindor truffle. I had to pick up my peppermint Lindor truffles holiday special. Let's do that one, the white chocolate. And then the way that I fit this in the box is just kind of smush the wrapper and just slide it in there. Okay, so the Lindor truffles are a little bit smaller than the Ferrero Rochers. So you'll see the Ferrero comes right up to the top here. So this is an inch and, what did I say it was? Inch and 3/8, thank you. So that's why I had put the alternative measurements on the project sheet, but the Lindor fits perfectly in 1 1/8 inch height, like so. And that would just be the cutest little table favor. I love the way that looks. This one looks a little bit better because I took my time and got it centered there in the star, but how cute is that? I love the Sweetest star punch. So lots of fun with that. So how about I show you a quick tutorial about how I did the designer series paper. We'll see how this goes. The last time I brought the ScanNCut on a live stream, it started to eat the stylus because I wasn't paying attention to it feeding the cutting mat. So let me get that teed up and then we'll do some sneak peeks. Okay. All right. This big ScanNCut. I will zoom in on the screen, but let me get myself plugged in here. Oops, as I drop the cord. Bear with me. This is normally in a cabinet, so I had to bring it out special for the live stream. I'm just plugging it in at this point. There we go. All right. Let's get her powered on. I do have a link to this particular model. I used to have the ScanNCut CM350. I believe they've discontinued that model. This one is the SDX 125E. What I love about the upgraded model is that it's got a I totally lost the name of the thing. The cutting blade figures out the measurement or the depth of your paper for you, so you don't have to make any guesses. So I'm going to start, actually, let me put this off to the side for a second. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do first. Don't drop it, Julie. Okay, so cutting mat. I'm gonna bring in, I'm actually gonna trim this a little bit. I was testing this ahead of time, so as you can kind of see on my cutting mat, I've got a lot of kind of cut marks on there, and the scanner is so good, it's gonna pick up those cut marks. So here's a little bit of a trick. I have just punched out the Sweetest star punch from Basic Black, and I have just adhered the black punch to a piece of basic white. That's just gonna allow me to identify that shape on the ScanNCut without the noise of the cuts that are on the mat. So just a little trick for you there. I chose basic black cardstock, but you can really do any sort of dark color of cardstock. That's what it would be what I recommend. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of place this towards the top of the mat. This mat is sticky. It's not as sticky as when I first got it. So I do like to come in and burnish. I normally use something called the Lil Chiseler, but I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in my mess of a craft room. So there's this particular mat that you need to use for your machine, so make sure you're paying attention to that. And I also am paying attention to where the feed arrow is, because the first time I did this, there's a little hanging thing on here, and I always put it on upside down. So pay attention to that. My cutting mat is well loved. You can see it's wrinkled, but it came to me that way from Amazon, and I just went with it. And it works just fine. So I just stuck that on there with Stampin' Seal Plus. You just need it to stick enough that it can go through the scanner, okay? All right, I'm gonna bring the machine back, move some stuff out of my way. Now, I am not an official ScanNCut person, so there may be a different way to do this. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is load my mat. That's gonna be off screen for you. Just got my little stylus. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do scan to cut data. And I have set my scan area to 12 by 6. You can change that in with a little wrench there, and black and white. And that just means it's only going to read the top 6 inches of the mat because I don't have a ton of space behind the machine. So then I'm going to go ahead and click start. This is always where I'm like holding my breath and I hope that it works. Okay, it's saying recognizing. I'm actually, when it's done recognizing, I'm gonna unload the mat. That'll give me some more working space to show you. And it's gonna give me this message and I just say, okay. That part doesn't matter. All right, now you can see what the machine scanned. It was the top 6 inches. And I'm gonna go ahead and click this left one, which we wanna just do an outline of the image. And see how it picked up all of those little cut lines? I'm gonna use these arrows and just drag in close to my star. And again, that's part of why I put it on that basic white piece. That's all I care about, it's just that little area. And then I'm gonna click preview. And then I'm gonna click OK. All right, so now it's asking me where I wanna put this scan, and I'm gonna do the machine. I don't have a ton of scans on here, so it's scan number 7, and I'll click OK. Okay, so now I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna say OK to delete all the patterns. And then I'm gonna click retrieve data. And remember, we saved it to the machine. And now I'm gonna scroll down to number 7. So that is basically a cut file, but it's exactly the size of the punch. And I actually want it to be a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna click OK. Then I'm gonna click edit. It's already highlighted the object. This, if you had multiple objects, you could bounce around to them, but I only have one that's in this file, and I'm gonna click object edit. And this one that is on the 3rd row in the middle, it's the offset distance. So by default on this machine, it might be different if you have a different model. By default, it is 0.06 inches larger. So I actually want it to be a negative number. And because I was doing designer series paper that was a 1/16 of an inch, I wanted it to be a 1/16 of an inch increment on the sides. I wanted a similar look for the top. So 1/16 of an inch is technically 0.0625. I can't go to that many decimals. So I'm gonna go down to, and it jumps from 0.04 to negative 0.04. And I'm gonna go down to negative 0.07. That is a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch, but then I'm gonna click OK. Okay, now you probably can't see that on here, but there's actually 2 images there. If I just drag my stylus, see how those separated? The one I grabbed is the larger one. I am actually just gonna click OK. That one I'm gonna delete because I don't want that one. I want the one, I'm gonna click OK. I want the one that's just a little bit smaller. Okay, so this would be how you would then proceed to go and cut. And I think we're gonna try to do that today. So I'm gonna go ahead and you can click and drag this anywhere on the machine or on the mat. I'm gonna click Object Edit, and I'm gonna show you how you can cut a bunch of them. So by clicking the plus sign, I can tell it, we'll do 3 of them so it doesn't take too long. How's that? And click OK. So it's going to automatically add 3 stars, and now we're just going to click and drag. Sometimes it's a little bit easier in the, it's not called design space, that's Cricut, but I forget what it is for the ScanNCut. But I'm just playing around with this. You can get a little bit more finite with that. Then I'm going to click OK. And OK again. And then if I wanted to save this, so I did one that was a whole sheet of 12 by 12, and I saved that as a file. So you could absolutely save this, and we'll do that. I'm just gonna replace. I'm gonna overwrite. So that's gonna overwrite the one we were just working with. So I can always go back to it, okay? So pretend I did a whole page. Then I'll click OK. Then it's gonna ask me, please select, and I wanna cut. Now, I don't wanna cut yet because I haven't loaded my mat, so let me go ahead and bring this out, and I'm gonna grab some designer series paper here. We are just about done, believe it or not. All right, so bringing back the cut mat, and I'm gonna grab, let's see. We've got remnants of the Bloom Impressions. I'm just gonna lay that right on there. And again, you kind of want to remember where you place those cuts. Canvas workspace, thank you, Yvette. Get my bone folder again. Just burnishing that down so it stays put. Bring the machine back. And you're gonna hear it work its magic, but let me get the mat loaded. Okay, the mat's loaded, and I'm just gonna click, it's telling me it's gonna take 1 minute, and I'm gonna click start. It's gonna test. It's testing the thickness of the paper. And then it'll start cutting. That's the noise it makes when it cuts. It's got a very sharp needle or knife that cuts right through the paper. You can kind of see in the bottom of the screen it moving around. All right, so I'm just gonna say okay. And I'm gonna unload the mat. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and click the home button and just say okay, that's fine. Because we already saved those patterns. So we're done with the scan and cut part. Let me turn that off. And then I'll show you the magic. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so let me go ahead and punch out one of the stars. So petunia pop. There we go. And then if I did it right, we magically have a matte layer to a 1/16 of an inch, or close enough, 0.07 inches. Isn't that so cool? So I love the ScanNCut for so many things. It is an investment, absolutely, but I just wanted to show you how you could actually take one of our punches and do a matte layer. It's just a very, very cool thing. So that's how that works. And when you do a whole sheet of them, you get a piece that looks like that. So some of you may have seen on, what day was it? The power went out. I hadn't used my ScanNCut for a while, and literally the first time after I dusted it off, I try to use it and the power goes out right in the middle of the cut. I was able to go back and get it going again, but I was just like, really? So I was joking because Brian got, he didn't have to cook dinner that night. We went out to dinner because there was no power. So that is how I did the little inset. You guys can always come back and take a look at that segment of tonight's show if you need a refresher. I do have the ScanNCut is linked if it's something you want to add to your Santa list this year, but that's the scoop with that. So I'm going to switch gears here just a little bit. Let me come back to this. You can put a cue if you want to, but I want to do one thing before I forget. I forgot to update my Pixie Patron thing, so hold on. Let's see, Google Drive. My credits, I forgot to update it last week, and I wanted to make sure that I got it updated this week. All right, there we go. Copy. Ecamm. Paste. Replace. All right, well, that's working. All right, I'm coming back to this scene, because now we're going to jump into the sneak peek part of the show. So keep your questions coming, put a Q. I know you guys will probably have some questions about the sneak peek products. But let me get situated here. So really quickly, again, last chance list is going to be mini catalog products that are retiring, as well as online exclusives that are retiring. And that's to make room for the new mini catalog and celebration that starts January 7th. So I can't show you the inside of these yet until January 7th. If you've shopped with me in the last 6 months, you got a catalog request from me, and I've got all the catalogs ready to put into their envelopes. Well, I have to put my labels and everything, but the plan is that I'll get them mailed out by Friday. So if you did request a catalog from me, keep your eye on your inbox for your tracking number for that. And always with each catalog, I open up product shares. So I open up my product shares today for sign up. So quick high level, I'm going to show you all the products that are included tonight, some sneak peeks. But these product shares are a little bit different than what I've done in the past because I'm also including online exclusives products. We have online exclusives that released last month, and we have new ones coming in January as well. So I'm including from both rounds of online exclusives along with this. So I have a paper share, I have a ribbon and embellishment share, and I have an I Want It All share. So the paper share is 16 papers. It's 134 sheets of 6x6 paper. That is $58 plus $9 shipping. You also get included in that, part of the 16 papers are sampling of the celebration papers. So there's 3 of them: Bloom Impressions, Fruit Salad, and Toadstool Garden. So those will be included in the paper share. The ribbon and embellishment share is, I believe it's 5 ribbons and 7 adhesive backed embellishments. So 11¼ yards of ribbon, 227 embellishment pieces. Again, that includes sampling from Celebration. And if you want all of the above, the ribbon and embellishment share, it's $29 plus $4 shipping. And if you want all of it, you get all of the above plus the free gift of antique pearls. So the antique pearls are unique because there was no way for me to divide them evenly for a product share because some of them are divisible by 4, some of them are divisible by 5. So I threw them in as the free gift if you do the I Want It All share. Also want to point out that if there's twine, that's not included in product shares because Brian and I just can't do that. It's impossible. So that's the scoop. The sign up deadline is January 5th, thepaperpixie.com/shares. Payment deadline is January 6th. And then first thing when the catalog goes live, January 7th, I get up at 2 a.m. to get the order in because I want to try to avoid any inventory selling out. So that's the scoop there. The link is in the description. Why don't I show you the products, okay? All right. We're going to start with the embellishments. This is an online exclusive, the adhesive backed heart sequins. They are gold. I love those. These are also an online exclusive, Riverside irregular pearls. Those are gray granite, white, and lost lagoon. We've got the low profile dots, also an online exclusive, gold and petal pink. Then we've got the two-tone sparkle gems, balmy blue and bubble bath. I love how those are two-toned. Aren't those gorgeous? Did I tell you online exclusives? This is the free gift. I'm not going to expect you to count these, but yeah, these were too impossible. I can't just cut a strip for product shares, so that's why they got thrown in as the free gift. But these are the antique pearls from the mini catalog, and they have just a little bit of iridescence to them. They're gorgeous. These are the party dots with Icona hair on there. These are from the mini catalog as well. Peach Pie Pool Party and Pretty in Pink. Sunny Day iridescent dots, also from the mini catalog. Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, and Summer Splash. And they have a little bit of, do you see the gold flecks in there? Ah, they're so pretty. This is Celebration. So this is the purple adhesive back sequins, Berry Burst, Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, and White. This is free with a $60 order, but you'll get a sampling in the ribbon and embellishment share or the I Want It All share. Okay, so that's the embellishments. If I'm going to try to give you an example. Let's see. I don't have an example, but typically what I do is I put all the embellishments on a 4x6 backer board, and it's from the Designer Series paper, and I put them in one of the Avery passport pockets. So that's how you get those from us in the product share, okay? And then, let's see, next is the ribbon. So there are 5 ribbons included in the ribbon and embellishment share. We've got the white, it's always hard to find, white 1/2-inch woven ribbon. This is an online exclusive, but really scrumptious to work with for bows. It feels linen-ish. This is Celebration. This one is 3/8-inch seam binding ribbon in fresh freesia. I have petunia pop on the brain. And if you've worked with seam binding ribbon, we've had a lot of it over the years, and it's really nice to work with. We've got petal pink 3/8 of an inch scalloped ribbon. This is another one that will be nice to work with because it's nice and thin. This is Daffodil Delight. Yeah, Daffodil Delight, 1/8 inch satin ribbon. There's that. And then this one is gold open weave trim, and it's 1.5 inches. So we've had the silver before, but this also makes really pretty bows. So those are the 5. I don't remember off the top of my head. This was online exclusives, Celebration, and then these 3 are the mini catalog, okay? Now the ribbon, I can show you an example of that. This is a Paper Pixie exclusive. We designed special ribbon tags that hang on a binder ring, but they will be labeled, and they're a great reusable way to have access to the ribbons, okay? So you'll get all of that. Not these ribbons, these are from a past share. Brian lovingly cuts all of those ribbon tags for me. All right, and paper is next. I'm gonna get this part out of the way. This is how we package our paper, labeled in an open top 6x6 bag. Makes it easy for you to take paper in and out while you're creating with it. So you'll get everything labeled and packaged together. So let's go ahead and start with the paper. And I'm just gonna show you the patterns. We're gonna start, these are in no particular order, but this is beautiful bokeh. And I'm gonna try to go to, I already organized these so I could show you both sides. So you're seeing front and back. This one is gorgeous. This is from the mini catalog. I feel like this is making the camera go wonky. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Beautiful colors. I love the bokeh look. There you go. This is from Celebration. It's fruit salad. This one's a fun one because the front and back of these papers are so cute. Oh my gosh. So this is a free with $60 order paper. These are like, they look like carrots to me, but it's supposed to be fruit. Do you put carrots in fruit salad? So I love this is front and back. So bananas in this pattern. I love the apples because my mom Pixie loved apples. We got lemons and oranges. So the full fruit and then the sliced fruit, which I think is so cute. Cantaloupe, is that what that is? Brian's favorite fruit, not. He does not like cantaloupe, but look at this really big orange segment image. I love that. We got pineapple slices and full pineapples. Love the watermelon front and back. We've got kiwi. That's a fruit salad right there. It's just super fun patterns. And again, this is a full pack of Designer Series paper you would get free with a $60 order. Pomegranates. So there's that one. So a $12.50 value for a $60 order. I love Celebration. It's the best time of the Stampin' Up! Year. Next one is Toadstool Gardens. This one you get some extra. There's not as many patterns. But again, this is free with $60 and it coordinates with one of the suites or bundles in the mini catalog, which I love. That is such a fun pattern. I'm kind of going quickly through this. I want to get to your questions. I love this polka dot pattern. So cute. Lots of fun patterns in this one. Look at that with the ladybugs. Snails and ladybugs. Cute. So toadstool gardens. And again, everything I'm showing you is included in my product share. All right, we've got, where's my little separator? There we go. Timeless Plaid. This is from the Storybook Suite, which, wait until you see that suite. It is awesome. So just some great plaids. I'm starting with the 6x6 papers in case you're wondering. So I'll kind of go quickly through these, but look at all these plaid patterns you get. So amazing. One of these papers coming up has 23, I think, different colors in it. It's amazing. There we go. Great for masculine cards. These will be great for Father's Day for sure. You have a shirt that looks like that. Or you did. Probably the elbows have holes because you loved it so much. All right, so that's Timeless Plaid. Lots of patterns in that one. This is Everyday, oh, it's Everyday Skies. Look at all those colors on there. Holy cow. So many colors. All right, Everyday Skies. This is an online exclusive. Another stunner. Make sure you guys can see that okay. There we go. This one reminds me of like a colorful camouflage. So pretty. This is designed in-house by our concept artists. I love that one with the brush strokes. Beautiful colors here. There's a dark one that would be perfect for Halloween, even though it's going to be a while till Halloween. But look at all these patterns you get. This one would be so pretty for Halloween. Or fall, I guess. This is the one that reminded me of Halloween. Yeah, amazing patterns, both front and back. That's Everyday Skies. All right, now we're getting to the 12 by 12, which will take up the whole screen. So I'm gonna do on the left and then I'll move to the right. But this one has gold foiling. This is an online exclusive that's available for purchase now, but I am including it in the shares. This is that acrylic pour technique. Love this. This is our Valentine's suite. So you're seeing both sides. One side has gold foiling, the other does not. It's gonna be really hard to not use the front side with all that beautiful gold. Ah, I love this one. And the flowers are beautiful. All right. Oops, making music over here. All right, this is a vellum, floral and gingham vellum from the mini catalog. You're gonna get 2 each of 3 designs. So I don't wanna give you, let's see if I can do it like that. When they're stacked on top of each other, it makes me dizzy. There's that one. Okay, and then the third one is a gingham, which is just beautiful. Isn't that pretty? Love that. So this also goes with part of a suite in the mini catalog that will do nothing but make you smile because it's so bright and cheerful. All right, storybook moments. This is where my kids are going to get involved in product shares because as you'll see, 2 of the sheets have die cuts. So in the product shares, you're gonna get a sampling of die cuts and my kids are gonna do that for me. So you get 2 sheets of die cuts when you buy the full pack, but they're already die cut and ready for your project, okay? Love that. I'm gonna move that out of the way because the die cuts pop out really easily. And then you've got right out the gate this really cool page that you can cut into pieces for card layers, for scrapbooking. There's a very cool sample in the catalog where they've used an X-Acto knife to cut out the center of that to create a frame. It was really cute. So you're seeing both sides here. That's gonna drive me nuts. But it reminds me of Peter Rabbit, this sweet. Love this page. That vegetable page is so cute. This is a different suite for us, and I'm here for it. It's so cute. So there we go. I'm making music with that magnetic bowl. Oops. Next is Wildflower Birthday. Again, die cuts. Lily and Nolan will be put to work for that one. Oops, forgot a page. I feel like I did that one backwards. All right, so this is, you're again seeing two sides, but here's another one of those pages. You can cut these down to tags. Isn't that so pretty with the gold foiling? So yeah, great birthday suite. There we go. Hopefully you're catching that gold foiling with the, oh, I love this gingham. Oops. Yeah, they're popping out already. This is a quick one, Pastel Ombre Glimmer. You get 2 each of 3 colors, so oh, they're multiple colors, but we got blues, greens, and purples. Isn't that so pretty? I promise we're almost done, Brian. All right, mixed media florals. Yeah, this is an online exclusive. Oh, like these. I love the black with these bold reds and greens. Gorgeous. This one is launching in January as one of the online exclusives. Love the black and white pattern too. There we go. Mixed media florals. All right, Friends of the Ocean. This one, like, I'm not a huge ocean animal fan. However, the colors in this suite totally did it for me. So they're just, these are my kind of colors. They, the brights is my favorite color family. Let me get this plastic pocket out of the way here. And I just absolutely love the bright and cheerfulness of this suite. So crabs and lobsters and just bright, bold colors. And the great thing about the paper share or the product share is that you get a sampling and then you can decide what you want to buy full packs of. It's a great way to make those decisions. So there we go. Just very, very cute patterns. All right, so Floral Delight. This is part of that beautiful sunshiny suite. Again, like these colors are just out of this world. If you guys follow Jamie Babarsi, she's a good friend of mine, and she hates yellow, but she loves this suite. I think she said this is her favorite suite, so believe it or not. So, so pretty. This is going to be so pretty for Easter. All right, 2 to go. This one's quick and easy. It's brushed silver and gold foil. This is available now. It's part of the last release of online exclusives, but you get 3 sheets of each, and you can see that texture there. Okay, so silver and gold, beautiful for holiday projects, Valentine's projects, just really pretty. And then finally, this one's available now as well, but Otterly Adorable. It's the Otter Suite. That's part of the online exclusives, but fun patterns, both front and back. On this one, I would probably use the back pattern more than the front. Love this river pebble pattern. That one's my favorite in this paper. This one's gorgeous, the water pattern. Fun. This reminds me of a paper we had years ago. So there we go, Otterly Adorable. So that's the scoop. Again, product shares. I don't know where I put my paper, but the link is in the description if you want to join the product shares. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Q&A time. Tonight was fast and furious, but I hope there was something in it for everybody tonight. Let's see. Again, if you've got a question, put a Q in front of that question. I am about 20 or 30 seconds ahead of you. So in case I missed your question at the end, feel free to email me anytime at support@thepaperpixie.com. Okay, so oops, I pushed the wrong button. Hold on, I always do that. There we go. A Pixie Perk. So that is currently my loyalty program. So for each single order increment of $25 you spend with me, you earn a Pixie Perk star. And when you earn 10 stars, you get to choose a free stamp set. You can also save your stars, and if you reach 20 stars, you can redeem for a free stamp and die bundle or 2 stamp sets. You kind of have your choice there. So that's the scoop with my Pixie Perks program. The Pixie Perks program is actually going to phase out likely at the end of March as Stampin' Up! Transitions to their new Stampin' Rewards program, which will reward you in a similar way but better on orders of $20 or more. So Pixie Perks program will stay in place until the Stampin' Rewards program changes, and when I have a better idea on dates for that, I'll keep you guys posted. But I've got a whole page on my website, Jennifer, about my Pixie Perks program. If you just go to thepaperpixie.com/Pixie Perks, you can read all about it. Let's see. Good question, Sue. I'm not even there yet, so I haven't really thought about it. Well, we've talked about it briefly, Brian and I have, but I likely will. I have no idea what the stamp set will be, but I do plan to do that. I haven't thought that far yet. What happens if you spend $150 or more and forget to take your host code off? You're going to get an email from me letting you know what you can do to fix that. So I will help you with that. If you forgot and you missed out on Stampin' Rewards, we can work on a correction order for you. But you'll get an automatic email if you forget to do that, and it'll tell you what to do.
So there's 2 of them, and I responded to her.
Okay. Let's see. The decorative trees dies will come back in stock, Jackie. They were supposed to come back in stock this week, but the date got pushed back till the week of December 23rd. They are a last chance item, but Stampin' Up! Does plan to restock them one more time. So keep your eye on the store. Right now, that date is the week of December 23rd that those will come back. Let's see. Will the mini Reese's peanut butter cups fit in this box? Yes, but I don't know how many of them. And I don't think I have any Reese's peanut butter cups, but if anybody tries it, let me know. You absolutely could use different shapes for the top, Cindy. You could actually use a circle or a square. That would work well with the pentagon shape. Let's see. Do you need a die cutter? No, you don't need a die cutter. So if you want to cut the shape that I used tonight on the Starbucks, that was a die cut shape, but you could absolutely use a punch. A circle punch would work for that. So you don't need a die cutter to paper craft. It's just a tool that some of us like to have in our toolbox, but it's not a requirement to be a paper crafter. The Designer Series paper is not cardstock weight. I'm trying to think what the weight is. Our cardstock is 80-pound cover weight. Our Designer Series paper is, I think it's 100 or 110 text weight. So it's lighter, it's not as heavy as the cardstock. But I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. And it depends on the Designer Series paper. So Stampin' Up! Actually doesn't publish the paper weights because it is technically proprietary. They have number of different manufacturers that provide the Designer Series papers. So they don't publish the weights, but it is lighter weight than our cardstock. So the project sheet will be available right after the live stream when I can update that link. I totally thought I put the link in there. It's done and ready to go. So hang tight. As soon as I get off the live stream, I will pop that link in there and save the description and you can grab it. Now, if you're on my email list, you're going to get that emailed to you tomorrow as well. Let's see. Your mat is no longer sticky and you barely use it. Do I have that problem? I have had that problem with my mats. I recommend that you do some YouTube searching because there are lots of videos that show how to re-tack your mat. And that really, you could buy them and replace them. What I find is the brand new mats are too sticky, but I'm trying to think, it's with, I can't think of the brand of adhesive, but there's lots of great video tutorials out there to re-stick your mat, to make your mats last a lot longer. So take a look for that on YouTube. Let's see. Okay, so I've been making a lot of your boxes recently, but I struggle using the scoreboard. The stylus seems to easily go out of the lane. Am I pressing too hard or not hard enough? So there's a couple of different things that you should try, Hope. One is pay attention to the angle that you're pulling your stylus at. You want to try to pull it straight down if you can. I know we have a tendency to hold it like we're holding a pencil, and that might make us go at an angle. If you're pulling in any way to either side, your stylus is going to pop out of the track. So again, try keeping it as straight as possible when you score downwards. You can also try adjusting the pressure. It's possible you're not putting enough pressure or you're putting too much. I think if you're putting too much, it's not going to jump out of the track. It's going to start to break the paper fibers too much. So you kind of have to get a happy medium there. You can try that. The other thing is swapping the side of the score tool that you are using. The Simply Scored has two different sizes, a smaller one and a larger one. I personally, 99% of the time, use the smaller one, but you could try flipping to the bigger one to see if that helps. And then other than that, you could do the trick of wax paper, putting a little bit, like rubbing wax paper on your paper just a little bit and see if that helps you score a little bit easier. But I would use that kind of as a last case scenario, just because it's there's a little bit of friction there if you've got to use wax paper to get your scoring tool to work. So try those things. All right, the star punch, Cindy, let me measure that. I think those measurements are also on the Stampin' Up! Website. Where's my ruler? I'm going to go from point to the indent. It's about 2 1/8 inches. Okay, so I'm doing like point to indent, 2 1/8. But if I do like the widest parts, it's more like 2 1/4. Okay. So Judy, I was trying to think of a couple of ideas for that. What you could do is, oh, that would go the other way. I was trying to think if you traced it with like a Sharpie, but that's going to do an outset versus an inset. You could potentially use, now I'm going to forget the name of the math tool. A compass, is it called a compass? Do you know what I'm talking about with the pencil and the pointer? It's a compass. you could use a compass, Judy. I couldn't think of the name of the tool, but the one that has the pencil and the pointer attached. And if you could put the pencil really close to the pointer and trace the outside of the star with a pencil and then fussy cut, and that'll give you a smaller one. But that's the only other way that I could think of on the fly that might work for that. I did not share how to cut it without a ScanNCut. So this was just an added bonus for cutting it with the ScanNCut. Now, the other thing you guys can do is literally just punch designer series paper and adhere it right to the top of the star. You don't need to have the inset for this box to be super adorable and cute. I think if paired with the designer series paper around the outside, and then just for sturdiness, if you punch out of cardstock and then punch out of designer series paper and glue those on top of each other, that would be super cute. So you would not need to have that be an inset, okay? Let's see. I have never used embossing glaze. I'm not even sure I know what that is. We have embossing paste, but I'm thinking the embossing glaze is different. So I don't have any experience with that, but maybe somebody in the chat has chimed in. Let's see. I did change well, let me just say I'm testing something. So we'll see how it goes. I know there's a couple questions coming up about what I'm using, and I'll get to that. I'm testing something, so we'll see. Okay, so the index storage, that was the next question from Raquel. So I am using, I found these on Amazon. It's a box of 100 by Smeed, and these are the 4x6 card guides. They're not on my favorites page yet because I'm very particular about what makes it to my favorites page. I won't put it there until I love it, okay? So, but you get 100 in a box, and I don't remember the price. It was relatively inexpensive. So I'm trying this. I have one of those index card boxes. I don't love the box, so I'm waiting to figure out if I'm gonna keep this box or what I'm going to do. But just one of those index card boxes, and I was gonna put my embellishments. The only embellishments I've done this to are the new ones that are in the product share. So stay tuned, but that's what it is. I'm using the, 6x4 card guides, and they're 1/3 cut. They've got, let's see if I can show you really quickly without making a mess. So they've got the tabs already cut. I would love it if they were white, but all I could find was in the manila color. So that's the scoop there. Let's see. Ooh, so I'm gonna say no because right now it takes us really long to cut those. We tried something else and it didn't work, so we're not in a position to be able to package and share those. The only way you can get them is by participating in shares, and the longer you participate, the more of those ribbon tags you'll get. Hint, hint. So we actually custom make those, Barb, the ribbon organizer tags. I designed the design and Brian cuts them for me. So fairly tedious, but we only do it 3 times a year for the product shares. So I answered that. Embellishment storage. For the 6x6 sleeves for the paper shares, I use bags from Clear Bags. I will tell you, they're not gonna hold up over time. They're really, like a really low mil plastic. They're great for product shares because they're super inexpensive, but I would say for a long-term storage solution, if you're taking papers in and out, they probably won't last you too long, but clearbags.com is where I got those from.
She might think they're getting that.
No.
No, that's what you showed.
This is what I showed.
Oh.
These guys. So you're asking about these. These are the Clear Bags ones. Let's see. I'd have to look at the design closer. So Deidre's asking, would the ScanNCut cut out the rabbits on the Storybook Moments paper, or do they have to be in bold colors to cut out? It depends on how different the background is from the design itself. If there's enough of a contrast, the ScanNCut can usually pick it up, but you're gonna have to kind of play around with the scan settings, kind of going between black and white scanning and color scanning, and then you can kind of adjust how much of a contrast you want the scanner to look for. It might take a little bit of trial and error, and it's also possible that they're not the best. I haven't studied that design, so I'm answering that on the fly without actually looking at them again. But you could try it. What I would do is only try it on like one of the bunny rabbits before you decide to cut a whole sheet, if that makes sense. So I would reduce the scan area, only do the little, like a little, I don't know, 2" by 2" corner of it and see how it goes before you decide to cut the whole sheet. Yvette, for Pixie Perks, you can message me. Now, my team members don't earn Pixie Perks because you get a lot more perks as a team member, but feel free to email me. You can check at thepaperpixie.com/Pixie Perks at the very bottom. There is a way to check, to submit, to check your Pixie Perks balance. But you can also email me as well. The best way to store your Memento ink and Versamark, I actually store them upside down. So they're upside down. Hold on, I'm trying to cover my face. So I label them upside down, and that way it just keeps the ink at the surface, because they're not designed the same way as the Stampin' Up! Ink pads are. Let's see. Absolutely, if we've got Paper Pixies going to Onstage, yes. And I know we do have a local Paper Pixie as well, and she wasn't able to get in. She's on the wait list, so we'll definitely do something where we can get together with her as well. So stay tuned. Can you use a Cricut machine as a print and cut? I am not familiar with the Cricuts. I'm not sure. They probably do now. It's been a long time since I had a Cricut machine. So it just needs to have a scanning capability. And I'm not sure if Cricuts do. If they do have a scanning capability, then yes, I believe you can use it in a similar way. The menus obviously would be different, but I just am not familiar with Cricut, so. Alrighty, I've reached the end of the questions. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me tonight. I hope you learned a fun tip or trick or two, or you found a designer series paper you absolutely have to have. I'd love to invite you to join my product shares. Again, the link to sign up for product shares is in the description, and that ends on, the last day to sign up is January 5th of 2025. Again, tonight is the last night to take advantage of free shipping on orders of $75 or more. That ends at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time tonight. Stampin' Up! Only offers that a few times a year, so it's a great 11% discount to save on shipping. And check out the last chance products, especially the discounted ones, because there's some amazing discounts there. And we've got new kits that dropped. I will get the project sheet linked, updated probably within the next 5 minutes, so hang tight for that. I thought I had it there. And other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed week. I'm about to roll the credits, which are my amazing Pixie patrons. Thank you so much for the support of the channel here. Remember, all you need are stamps, ink, and a little Paper Pixie, and we will see you next time. Take good care. Bye.